My name is Trevor Connor. I'm the founder and director of Hearts and Minds. And you've been signed up for the Toughness Letter now for a couple weeks, maybe a month, maybe several months, and you've been with us a long time. And at times we like to come to you in a different and a fresh way. Well, what better than to either interact with us through a video or even in a animated podcast, if you will. So that's what today's designed for. We're going to be starting a 5-part video series in the next couple weeks, and I'm going to be hitting you with some serious food for thought. So the topics we're going to be covering is love, discipline, respect, integrity, and grace. These are 5 critical areas of development for any athlete and any young person, and not to mention for the parent and also for a coach. So today, topic of the day is love. Well, studies say that an individual's makeup by the time that they reach the age of 18 is 25% of who they are is largely genetic, and the remaining 75% of who they are is based on their environment and how they've been raised. Think about that for a moment. 25%, 75%. So again, today's topic is love. And the first point I really want to hit is love without reservation. Well, here's a few rhetorical questions, and they deserve our time, energy to just pause and reflect on. Do you share love without reservation? What does it mean to show, model, and share? What does love look like to you? Do you give hugs? Are you a quality time person? Do you sit down and actually engage in the conversation with your athlete, with your son, your daughter? What about words of affirmation to build them up? Real one is, were you loved by your parents and coaches growing up? How was it modeled to you? You know what's interesting here is that most coaches that they begin to get in the coaching profession will largely begin their coaching career based on how they were coached and taught themselves, good or bad. And a question that I want you to think about too is, did you ever have a coach growing up that they used to punish the team or individuals when they would mess up? Maybe push-ups, maybe running a lap, a suicide or lines or whatever. Like, be honest. If that happened to you, and if you're a coach or you've been in the coaching profession now, have you also been guilty of doing that as well? Because you were taught that by Coach so-and-so. So if this happens within a coaching relationship, check this out. This also can happen at home in the parenting relationship. And again, it deserves a moment of thought. So I was a sophomore in high school. I was playing baseball. I'm from a small town in Iowa. We play Iowa high school baseball in the summertime. So school's out in May, and our first games are usually happening in the end of May, and we play all the way through July. And that's our summer high school team. Well, it's about probably June or July, and we're about to play our biggest rival in a varsity doubleheader. I'm set to pitch the first game, and I'm a left-handed pitcher, and I finished, I finished my sophomore and junior, senior year with the lowest ERA pitching on the team, the best wins on the team for pitching. I also walked the most amount of guys. I also struck out the most amount of guys. The point I'm trying to make here is I eventually played NCAA D2 college baseball, and I was a pretty salty player, both on the mound and hitting in the box. Well, our team, we were decent that sophomore year. We were above 500. We weren't, crushing teams by any means. But my team was desperately needing my arm that summer playing, and they also needed my bat at the plate. Our team's not favored to win this game, but we definitely put ourselves in a position to win when I'm on the mound. At least, you can say all you want and be like, oh, Trevor, whatever. At least you could say, we're in the game. We have a chance, right? So, leading up to this varsity doubleheader, I have a decision that I make that, like, I'm wanting to get some extra reps, extra batting practice in before the game, and I want to get to the cage early. So I text my buddy Tyrell, ask him, hey man, would you mind getting to the cage early with me, and let's get some extra VP. So our assistant coach, we had to text him too, so he got there early. Text him, he opens up the shed, Ty and I, we start to get to work, and after about 10 minutes, man, I'm crushing balls, I'm starting to feel it in the cage, I'm feeling good, and then I take an inside pitch, man, I still can see this ball, I take an inside pitch, and I hit an absolute missile into one of the vertical support posts of that batting cage. So check this out. Just visualize this. Somebody had zip tied that cage tight to those support posts that lines up that cage, that tunnel, right? Somebody zip tied that, and it's super tight. Wouldn't you know it, that like hitting that missile and that ball, it came right back to me like a freaking bullet, and it smoked me right here. Like, matter of fact, when I close my eyes and I think back to that moment, I can still read the word diamond on the ball as it comes, and it just dropped me. Just smoked me right in the face. Dropped me like a rock. Blood was everywhere, and Ty said I even passed out for several seconds. And, now I can laugh about it, but in the moment it was quite scary. He literally thought that I had just died. Well, I'd come to, I got my senses, pretty sure I have a concussion in that moment, and the wrestling coach is on a mower. He's actually mowing grass towards the cage, and he watched the whole thing happen in real time. Like, he gets over, hops off, gets over, helps me up with Ty. I limp to the tables just to collect myself. The assistant coach can't believe it, blood everywhere. I shared, say, somebody needs to get me, call my dad, I need to get to the hospital. And out of respect and honor, I knew that the head coach was coming, and I wanted to share firsthand what had happened to our head coach. And, like I said, he hadn't got there yet. Well, about 10 minutes go by. He rolls up after the accident, and he gets out of his Jeep, closes it, looks at me, holding my nose up, and just being miserable. Dry blood on my face, blood on my batting gloves I still have on, looks at me and says, "What the F happened to you?" And he walks on by. And as he's walking away, he literally yells loud enough for people 100 yards away to hear, "What the F, Connor? You're probably just effing around." And I look at the assistant, and I have tears in my eyes. Mind you, I did just get smoked in the face, but I mean, these were literal hurt tears, emotional hurt tears. And blood is all over. My head is absolutely killing me. Concussion. And the guy who I wanted and needed love from just in that moment, just a moment, just a fraction of a second of, "Are you okay?" didn't come. Instead, I was greeted with anger, frustration, and a pure lack of love. And the assistant coach looked at him, and I said, "My dad's giving me to the hospital. Can we go?" So he takes me to the hospital. Father met me at the ER. And sure enough, after x-rays come back, it's a broken nose, clean break. See, I mean, my nose is pretty still, kind of. But it's a clean break, and had most likely a concussion. And doc told me that I needed at least 1 to 2 weeks till I could heal up and get back to playing. Well, I returned back to the game because it's a home game, man. I want to get back to my team. We're playing this doubleheader. I want to support them. I ride back to the team, and we're in the third inning, and when I get back, I got cotton swabs in my nose. I beginning to have a little bit of black eye. Head coach, when he sees me walking towards the dugout, he walks to the opposite side of the dugout. Doesn't talk to me, doesn't look at me, doesn't ask how I am, what the prognosis is, nothing. And you can say, "Oh yeah, well, Trev, come on, like, the guy's coaching the game, whatever." He walked to the opposite end of the dugout. Didn't want to talk to me. I wish the story ended there, but it continues. So he continues to make snide, arrogant remarks under his breath. "Connor this, Connor that." Loud enough for my teammates and, of course, for me to hear, and probably parents sitting outside the dugout to hear. Well, get this, our team gets pummeled in game 1. We get 15 run ruled in game 2, and our rival just beat the pulp out of us, and they ended up being the state champion that year. And after the game, I even tried to stay after to talk to the coach. He gave me about 10 to 15 seconds of his time is all. He looked at me and he said, "I can't do anything with you now. I can't play you. You're a liability." And he walks off. So let me get this straight. And I'm not trying to make any excuse because I was an accomplished player. This should go across for any athlete, any skill level, any age. But here's a couple things. I'm the leadoff hitter. And that moment, I actually did some stat pull. I led the team in that moment an average, and I had a 432 average at the time, leading our team in several offensive categories. I'm the best pitcher on our team based on statistic, the only pitcher at the time with a winning record, and I just sub 3.0 ERA. I ended up being all conference, all district, missing an all state award barely by the end of the year. Politics. But the baseball that hit me in the face now hit me in a new way. And I realized something. I realized this guy doesn't love me. Among many other things. Like, I don't feel any sort of love. Never missed a practice. Always on time. I do the little things. I'm a great teammate. I support everybody that best I can. I show up early to take extra BP. And I'm trying to do the little things right. And the guy won't show me any love. So that night I went home. I packed up my uniforms. I put them in my equipment bag that was issued by the school. I drove it over to his house. Mind you, this is about 11 p.m. And I dropped it off at his front door and I walked away. I got a phone call from the coach about 1 hour later after I got home. This is well past 11 p.m. And this is midsummer time. Like I said, June or July. And he asked me, why is your uniform here? Why is your bag here? And I told him I was done. I told him I didn't want to play for him. I told him I didn't appreciate the way that he treated me, and I wasn't about to tolerate that level of disrespect and lack of care for me or anyone else, especially when there was an innocent accident involved. To sum it up, he admitted he was wrong. He eventually led to him breaking down in tears when him and I, we connected again, and he begged me not to quit. He begged me not to hang it up, literally crying. He shared that he was struggling with his life and family issues himself. And looking back, I'd probably bet a fair sum of money that there are some tough scars and lack of love that coach received from, maybe his parents, his coaches in college and high school, and really that carried over with how he treated me and my teammates. Well, that moment, among many other moments throughout my athletic career, really helped me make me into the mental coach, father, husband, and friend that I am today. You see, my friend, love is a powerful thing, and deeply embedded in the human spirit is the desire to love others and the desire to be loved, even though we may project a complete different message. So the question I have for you, when our kiddos mess up, which is 100% inevitable, do we love them freely? Do we accept their flaws and constant mess-ups, regardless of what's happened? When our kiddos, when they choke in the clutch of the game, or when the moment really matters, after the game, do we tell them that we love them and that we enjoyed watching them play and how proud we are of them? Or do we try to explain what they should have done instead of clutching up? Listen, guys, kids are simple. They need love. They need mom and dad to be proud. They need mom and dad to just be mom and dad after a great win, or after a crushing loss, or after getting a baseball right to the nose. They need mom and dad to be mom and dad. They need a coach to be coach and to just love them first and lead them from the heart. See, not only hold them, I want to challenge you, I want to caution you and challenge you, don't hold your child only an amount of love based on the success or failure they have within the game. And that's a difficult thing to do in our success-driven culture. My challenge is pretty simple to you parents, coaches that's listening to this, and that is take some time and talk to your son, talk to your daughter, talk to your team. Be vulnerable with them. It's a tough place to be as an adult. But I tell you what, that's a great place to be to share love. Is to be vulnerable. Ask them if you show love. Ask them if you need to make changes to how you communicate love with them. And you know what? I think if you take me serious on this, you may be surprised about what you learn in here. Next week, we're going to be covering the topic of discipline. And here's the last parting thought. When I'm in that moment and uncontrollable, such as a baseball hitting you in the face. Pure act of God. I don't know, man. Act of God, I didn't die. But just an incredible accident. It's so easy to be driven by the human being and the emotions that we have and to just react. But I'm telling you what, in those moments you can make or break a young person pretty quick by the amount of love, compassion, empathy, care, forgiveness, grace that you can share and demonstrate. And that's a close personal story to me, and it's a real one. That I still think back to that, and whenever I'm out and I'm watching coaches, I'm watching parents, how they interact with their kids, I can't help but think about that among a few other moments in my life of how I'm so thankful that that happened to me, so that way I can use that as an opportunity to help a parent or a coach just like you. Don't make the same mistake my high school coach did. Don't accuse a kid for doing something that, hey, it may have even been an honest mistake, but can you show love despite that? Guys, next week, we're going to be talking discipline. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you want to drop me a line and give me a response, what do you think? Or, hey, I prefer video over, just your emails. Let me know. Because we're going to be delivering a few more weeks of this, and we got some good things coming.